Hello students, in today's session we are going to learn about the chapter 4, that is data structures. So before coming to the concept of data structures, we shall know what is a data. So a data is a collection of raw facts that are processed by computers. I repeat, the definition of data is a data is a collection of raw facts that are processed by computers. Now what is this raw facts? Raw facts means, if you consider an example of a student, the details of the student such as register number, name, address and age can be considered as the raw facts. So I repeat the definition of data. A data is a collection of raw facts that are processed by computers. Now this data, it can contain single values or set of values. Now what is this single value and set of values? Single value is, if I take the example of the register number, this register number is considered as a single value, whereas in set of values we can take the example of name of the student. In name of the student we have got three sub items, that is the first name, second name and last name of the student. So this is regarding the data. So these data have to be processed to form an information. So these data have to be processed to form an information. Now information means it is processed data. So this is regarding the concept of data. Now we'll come to the actual concept of what is data structure. So now we shall see the definition of data structure. A specialized format for organizing and storing data is called a data structure. Specialized format for organizing and storing data is called as data structure. So a data structure is a specialized format for organizing and storing the data. Now to give a live example, we have got cupboard in our house. So in the cupboard we store different clothes. So it can be an example of data structure. Now suppose if you have got a rack, in the rack we are storing different files. So it is also an example for data structure. One more example for data structure, you can take a student data structure where the student details are register number, name, address and age. So this is regarding data structure. Next we shall go to the classification of data structures. So the next concept is on classification of data structures. So the data structure has been mainly divided into two types: primitive data structure and non-primitive data structure. The primitive data structure has been divided into four further units, that is integer, float, character and pointer. Non-primitive data structure has been divided into two types: linear data structure and non-linear data structure. Now this linear data structure is divided into arrays, stacks, queues and linked list. Non-linear data structure has been divided into trees and graphs. Now we shall go through each data structure in detail. So the first type of data structure is primitive data structure. The data structures that are directly operated upon by mission level instructions is called as primitive data structure. The data structures that are directly operated upon by mission level instructions are known as primitive data structures. Now, what is this mission level instructions? Mission level instructions are the instructions which are provided by the programming language. So, the instructions which are provided by the programming language is known as mission level instructions. Now, the types of primitive data structures are arrays, stacks, queues, and linked list. I will repeat. The primitive data structures means the data structures that are directly operated upon by mission level instructions are known as primitive data structures. The different types of primitive data structures are arrays, stacks, queues, and linked list. Next concept is operations performed on primitive data structure. Operations performed on primitive data structure. The first one is create. Now, create operation is being used to create a new data structure. Create operation is used to create a new data structure. Now, the declaration of variables in a program of different types is also known as create operation. Now, when you write a program, you declare variables of different types. So, that concept is also known as create operation. Example, int x. So, now I have declared a variable x which is of integer data type, and the variable x holds only one integer value. Float x comma y comma z. So now here also three variables x, y, z are declared as a float variable. Another example, char ch. Now ch is a character variable which is of type char, and it contains or it holds only one character value. The second type of operation performed on primitive data structure is destroy. So destroy is a kind of operation which is being used to destroy or remove data structure. So destroy is a kind of operation which is being used to remove the data structure from the memory space. So from the memory space, the data structure is being removed or destroyed. That is done by an operation known as destroy. Now, when a variable is being declared, certain amount of space is being occupied by the variable. So when the program execution ends, the data structure is automatically destroyed. Next, third type of operation is select. Now the select operation is used by programmers to access the data of data structure. Select operation is used by the programmers to access the data of data structure. Now, for example, if I consider a class, I am going to select the students who have scored less than 35 for the remedial class. So that is done by an operation called as select. Next, fourth one is update. Now, update operation is used to change or modify the data of data structure. Update operation is used to change or modify the data of data structure. For example, I am going to declare a variable that is int x is equal to 2. So I have declared a variable int x is equal to 2. Now I am reassigning x is equal to 4. Therefore, the value of x is now 4 because 2 has been replaced by x. That is known as update operation. So the operations performed on primitive data structures are create. So create is used to create a new data structure. Second one is destroy. So destroy is used to remove the data structure from the memory space. Third one, select. It is used to access the data of data structure. And the fourth one is update. So update is used to change or modify the data of data structure. So clear about the operations performed on primitive data structure. Next, we shall go through the concept of non-primitive data structures. So second type of data structure is non-primitive data structure. The data structures that are derived from primitive data structures are called as non-primitive data structures. The data structures which are derived from primitive data structures is called as non-primitive data structures. These data structures are complex type of data structures because they are derived from primitive data structures, hence they are complex type of data structure. Now this non-primitive data structure has been divided into two types. That is, the first one is linear data structure and the second one is non-linear data structure. Now, first we shall see what is a linear data structure. A data structure having linear relationship between the elements is called linear data structure. So the data structure which is having linear relationship among the elements of the data structure is known as linear data structure. So linear relationship means they are in a sequence order. That is, for example, suppose if you are having a mass PT, you stand in a line for the mass PT. That is in a sequence order, one after the another. So in linear data structure, the elements are in a sequence order. That is, one after the another, the elements are stored in linear data structure. So the different linear data structures are arrays, stacks, queues and linked list. So I repeat about linear data structure. A data structure having linear relationship between the elements in the data structure is called as linear data structure. So in linear data structure, the data elements are stored in a sequence order. So the different types of linear data structure are arrays, stacks, queues and linked list. Next is non-linear data structure. A data structure in which a data item is connected to several other data items is called non-linear data structure. A data structure in which each data item is connected to other data items is called as non-linear data structure. So the different non-linear data structures are trees and graphs. So in non-linear data structure, each element is connected to several other. For example, you can take an trees. Now in trees, first you have root, and then the root has been connected to the stem. From the stem, it has been connected to different branches, and in the branches it has been connected to leaves. So each item is being connected to several other data items. That is known as non-linear data structure. Next concept is on different operations performed on linear data structure. Operations performed on linear data structure. Now this, whatever I am explaining about the operations, you can write the same answer even if the question appears explain the operations performed on arrays or explain the operations performed on single dimensional arrays. You can write the same answer for all these three questions, that is operations performed on linear data structure and operations performed on arrays or operations performed on single dimensional arrays. It is the same answer for all the three questions. So now the first operation performed on linear data structure is traversal. Now suppose if you have to perform any operation using the elements of the arrays, you need to visit each element of that array. So now traversal means the process of visiting an element exactly once to perform some operation is called traversal. That is visiting each element of an array exactly once to perform some operation is called traversing. The process of visiting each element of an array exactly once to perform some operation is called traversing. Second one, insertion. The process of adding a new element into the array is called insertion. You have an array which contains 5 elements. You are adding one more element to that array. So that is done by the operation insertion, adding new element. Third operation is deletion. It is removing an existing element from the array is called as deletion. It is removing element from the array is known as, it's done by an operation called as deletion. The fourth one, searching. The process of finding the location of the element is called as searching. Finding location of an element is known as searching. The fifth type of operation is sorting. So sorting means the process of arranging elements either in an ascending or descending order is called sorting. Arranging elements of an array in ascending or descending order is known as sorting. The sixth type of operation is merging. Now, the process of combining the elements of two data structures. The process of combining the elements of two data structures to form a single data structure. Merging is the process of combining the elements of two data structure to form a single data structure is called merging. So this was regarding the operations performed on linear data structure, that is traversal, insertion, deletion, searching, sorting and merging. So next we shall see about the concept of arrays. Now this concept, that is arrays, you have studied in your first year. So we'll just brush up what is arrays. So array is an ordered finite collection of elements. It is a finite collection of elements having common name and each of same data type. So all the elements in an array are referred by a single name, a common name, and each belong to same data type. So the types of arrays are one-dimensional array, two-dimensional array and multi-dimensional arrays. So now one-dimensional arrays are specified by one subscript, that is single dimensional arrays. Now next. So next concept is finding length of an array. Finding length of an array. Now finding length of an array means you are counting how many elements are present in the given array. Now the length of an array can be calculated by the formula length equals to upper bound UB minus lower bound LB plus 1. So the length of an array can be calculated by the formula length equal to UB minus LB plus 1. Now UB means it is upper bound. Upper bound means the largest index in an array. That is, the largest location in an array is known as upper bound. LB is lower bound. Lower bound or the smallest index, that is the lowest location, the 0th location in an array is known as lower bound. Now we'll take an example of an array. Suppose if this is an array, so this is an array. Now in this array, A of 0, that is the 0th location, is lower bound, that is LB, and here A of 3, so this 3 is the upper bound. Now we'll calculate the length of this array. We'll find out how many elements are present in this array. So the formula is length is equal to UB minus LB plus 1. Now here UB is 3. UB is 3 and LB is 0. So the length equal to 3 minus 0 plus 1. So 3 minus 0 is 3 plus 1. So 3 plus 1 is 4. So the length of this array is 4 because there are 4 elements present in this array. So next concept is on memory representation of one dimension array. Memory representation of one dimension array. Now what is one dimensional array? An array whose elements are specified by only one subscript is known as one-dimensional array. Now here, memory representation of array of one-dimensional array means you are finding out the address of the elements in an array. Now let A be an array. Let A be an array. It is not necessary that the computer should keep track of all the addresses of every element of the array, but it is necessary for the computer to keep track of the address of first element in the array, which is denoted by base of A, that is base address of A. Now, we'll consider an array . Now consider this as an example, that is, this is a array A, and this can you see 1000, 1001, 1002, 1003, these are the address of the array and these are the location. So as I have told you all, it is not necessary for the computer to keep track of address of all the elements of the array, but the computer should keep track of the address of the first element in an array. So that is denoted by base of A, means base address of A. So using this base address, we can calculate the address of other elements in an array. So the formula to calculate the address of element in an array is address of A of I equal to base of A plus W of I minus LB. Now here you know that base of A means it is base address of A, the address of the first element in an array. W is number of words per cell. Number of words per cell. I is the index, or we can say the location, and LB is lower bound. So lower bound means the smallest index, that is the 0th location is lower bound. Now we shall calculate the address of the element A of 3. Now the formula is base of A plus W of I minus LB. The base address. Base address is 1000. Base address means I have told you that it is the address of the first element. That it is 1000 plus W. W is number of words per cell. Now this is an array which contains character elements. So character means in the memory space, character can store only one single byte. So for character, it stores one byte in the memory. So as a result, in this example, W is 1. Next, I means it is the location, that it is 3. 3 minus LB. LB is the lower bound. So lower bound is here 0, the 0th location. So equal to 1000 plus 1. 3 minus 0 is 3. So equal to 1000 plus 1 into 3 is 3, which is equal to 1000 plus 3 is 1003. So here can you see the address of the element A of 3 is 1003. So the next concept is on traversing. So I told you that traversing means it is a process of visiting each element of an array exactly once to perform some operation is called traversing. So traversing is the process of visiting each element of an array exactly once to perform some operation is called as traversing. Now we shall write an algorithm to write the traversing. So now let A be an array with I as the index. Now I'll take a simple array A which contains 4 elements, that is 10, 20, 30 and 40. So this is A of 0, A of 1, A of 2 and A of 3. So let A be an array with I as the index. So this is A is an array with I as the index. So I means it is 0, 1, 2, 3. The location is known as the I. This algorithm traverses array A by applying the operation process to each element of array A. So now this algorithm, it is traversing. Traversing means it is visiting each element of the array by applying an operation known as process to each element of array. Now we shall see the algorithm. That is step 1, for I equal to 0 to n minus 1. Now here it is I equal to 0. 0 means this is I. So from the 0th location the traversing begins and it goes up to n minus 1. Now here in this in this example, n is equal to 4. This array consists of 4 elements. So n minus 1 means 4 minus 1 is 3, because the I value it lasts to 3. So it is I equal to 0 to n minus 1, and then it is processing. An operation known as process has been applied to each element of the array. So it is process A of I, and then you will stop your first step, end of step 1 for loop. The last step is you are going to exit. Now we will trace this algorithm. Now I have told you that it is I equal to 0. So when I is equal to 0, when I equals to 0, it is going to traverse the first element, that is A of I means it is A of 0. When I is equal to 0, it becomes process A of 0. So it is visiting the first element, and then you are going to increment the value of I, that is I plus plus. So when you increment the value of I, that is 0, I becomes 1, and process A of 1. Process A of 1. So now the process operation is going to visit the second value, that is 20, and then you are increasing the value of I. So value of I becomes 2. So process A of 2. Now you are going to visit the third element, that is A of 2, which is 30. Again you increase the value of I. So it becomes I equal to 3. So the process, it is A of 3. So now you will be visiting the next element, which is A of 3, that is 40. And at last, when you increase the value of I, when I becomes 4, when I becomes 4, you don't have any element present in your array. So that time it will stop the first step, that is end of step 1 for loop, and you will exit from the array. So this is regarding the algorithm to traverse each element of an array. So next we shall see the application of arrays. So array is being used to create data structures like stacks, queues and linked list. So from arrays you can create other data structures like linked list, stacks and queues. It is also used to solve mathematical problems like vectors and matrices. So using arrays you can solve different mathematical problems using matrices and vectors. Next, advantages of arrays. So arrays is being used to represent many data items of same type by using single name. As the definition of array, it tells us that array is a ordered finite collection of elements which have got a same name belonging to each data type. So here also many data items of same data type can be represented using a single name. Next, as I have told, even in applications, we can use arrays to implement other data structures like stacks, queues, trees, graphs, etc. The third advantage of arrays is two-dimensional arrays can be used to represent matrices. So always when we take the concept of two-dimensional arrays, we always use matrices as an example. So this is regarding the advantages. Next is disadvantages of arrays. Now, when we are using the concept of arrays or when we are storing the elements in an array, we should know well in advance that how many elements are to be stored in an array. So when we take, suppose if you are finding any kind of operation using arrays, well in advance you should know that how many elements are present in that array. Second one, array is a static structure. Static structure means array is of fixed size. The memory which is allocated to the array, it cannot be increased or decreased because as I have told you all, array contains fixed size of elements. So now suppose if you want to allocate the memory to the array, it cannot be increased or decreased. Only for the fixed number of elements you have to allocate the memory. Third disadvantage, since the array is of fixed size, if we allocate more memory than the requirement, then that memory will be wasted. And suppose if you allocate less memory than the requirement, then it will create problems to you. So this is regarding applications, advantages and disadvantages of arrays. Next we shall go to the concept of non-linear data structure. So as I have told you all, in non-linear data structure, each data item has been connected to several other data items. So non-linear data structure has been divided into two types, trees and graphs. So first we shall see what is tree. So tree data structure, it is a non-linear data structure. So it contains nodes and edges. For example, look at this. Now here you can see A, B, C, D, E and F. So here this A, B, C, D, E and F are considered as nodes. A, B, C, D, E and F are considered as nodes. And edges is from one node to another node, you connect it. So that path is known as edge. Okay. So now there are some of the terms which are used under trees. So first is root node. Root node is the top node in a tree or starting node in a tree. In this example, now the top node is A or the starting node is A. So when in a tree, the first node or the top node is called as root node. Second one, parent node. Node from which child node is derived. So it is a node in which a child is being derived. For example, you can take B and C. Now this B and C are the children and A is been considered as the parent node, because from this A its children have been derived. So A is considered as, it is also considered as root node and also parent node. Next, siblings. Nodes from same parent is known as siblings. Now here I have told you that A is a parent node. So from this parent node, two children have been derived. So these B and C are considered as siblings. B and C are considered as siblings. Next, leaf node. Node with no children. So whichever node does not contain children or child is known as leaf node. Now here D. This D doesn't have any other nodes. So that has been considered as a leaf node. Even here E and F. After E and F there are no other nodes. So they are considered as leaf node. So here in this example D, E and F are leaf nodes. Next, edge. The connection between two different nodes is called as edge. So now here you have node A, node B. So between B and A a connection has been built. So that connection is known as edge. Next is the concept that is binary tree. A type of tree in which each parent may have 0, 1 or 2 children is known as binary tree. So it is a type of tree where each parent, it might have 0 node or 0 children, 1 children or 2 children. That is, now we can take example of this. This is also known as binary tree. So in this binary tree, suppose if I take the node A is having 2 children. Suppose if I take B as the parent now, B is having 1 child. If I take C as the parent node, then this C is having 2 children. If I consider D if it is a parent node, then it is having no children, it is having 0 children. If I consider E and F, also they do not have children, so it is also considered as 0 children. So a type of tree in which the parent has got either 0, 1 or 2 children is known as a binary tree. This is regarding the concept of trees. So next we shall go to the concept of graphs. So the next type of non-linear data structure is graph. So a graph is a non-linear data structure which is a set of vertices and edges which has been denoted by G. That is, graph G is equal to V comma E. So here in this example, these are considered as vertices, and the vertices, when they are connected to each other, they are connected by edges. The types of graphs. There are two types of graphs, undirected graph and directed graph. So undirected graph means there is no particular direction shown. So here this is an example for undirected graph. It consists of 5 vertices, but when the edges are passing, the direction is not being shown. So that is known as undirected graph. Next is directed graph. So directed graph means there is a direction shown for each edge when it is passing to the vertices. So this is an example. When there is arrows getting passed, when there is a direction being shown, then it is known as directed graphs. Yes, thank you.